What's up everyone? Alex here. And today, we'll be shipwrecked on a deserted island with Adol and friends, as we review Ys 8, Lacrimosa of Dana, hours later. Ys 8 is set on a deserted island, filled with creatures long thought extinct. You and an unknown number of passengers aboard a luxury liner have been shipwrecked and stuck on the island. As Adol, you are tasked with finding these passengers and finding a way off the island. As the game progresses, you slowly discover a hidden secret about it, and are drawn to a story that's filled with twists and turns that will push you to grind away and level up to uncover its hidden secrets. Being new to the series, I was surprised how well I was able to understand the story without having to play the previous games. This is definitely one of those games that, despite being called Part 8, that it really makes it easy for anyone interested to jump in. The elephant in the room has to be the game's localization. It's well documented over the past several months that the PlayStation 4 and Vita versions of the game had complaints about the quality of the localization and its voice acting, which prompted NIS America to issue a statement saying that the game will be patched for free with updated localization and voice acting. Much of the updated localization and voice acting did in fact make it to the Nintendo Switch. However, as of this video's production, the Nintendo Switch version is host to a myriad of localization problems which are unique to this version. Shortly after reviews of the game came out of embargo, NIS America issued a statement that 3 day one patches were to be issued to fix the localization and quote-unquote other issues. By now, you're probably hesitant with taking a chance at Ys 8, and frankly, I can't blame you. The localization has been one of the biggest sore spots of the game since its original release. That said, there's a ton of positives to talk about the game. For starters, the combat is fast, responsive, and accessible. In addition to your requisite attack and jump buttons, you have the ability to map out 4 special skills and activate them by holding down ZR and pressing any of the face buttons. These skills can be chained in such a way that they can create unique combos, and you'll easily learn new skills over time. The game also rewards you for dodging and blocking at the last possible second, providing you with various advantages in battle. You'll also get a special ability that deals a good amount of damage to your enemies. And finally, you can instantly play as any member of your party with just a press of a button, and each party member plays a lot different than the rest. Mixing all of these elements together can provide you with some interesting combinations in combat, and it's really fun to try and push the battle system to its limits because of it. The progression system is your typical experience point / leveling system, and because of how fast the combat is, I absolutely love taking the time to engage enemies in combat, plowing through swaths of enemies and grabbing loot. Armor and weapons are improved by way of a crafting mechanism that only requires you to hunt down specific materials in order to improve them. And while that might sound like a big pain, exploring uncovered areas of the island will quickly get you the materials you need. While it might sound like exploring a deserted island can be boring, there's actually a lot of beautiful locations throughout the game. Each location typically has a boss or two to offer, and further exploration is gated based on how many people you've rescued on the island. The percentage of how much of the game you'll have to play versus hitting the story beats is all player controlled for the most part. Because of this, you can spend countless hours exploring the island and wondering where the story went. This isn't a knock on the game at all, but rather something I want to bring up in the event that the plethora of story cutscenes in the beginning makes you think that these are very frequent. To break up the gameplay are a host of raids that happen in your makeshift village on the island. From time to time, you will be called upon to return to your village to help defend it from monsters, and you can improve your defenses by spending the materials you've obtained during your travels. These raids play like more active tower defense games, and at the beginning, I felt annoyed with what seemed like a constant call to defend the village. The further I played, however, the more I began to realize that these are welcome distractions, as the areas I began exploring started feeling like a long trek to a far-off locale. From a presentation standpoint, Ys 8's graphics feel like it's purposely trying to evoke the feel from a previous generation, and it actually fits the game really well. The game also has a soundtrack that I would describe as sublime, with guitar riffs and instruments that feel representative of the game's insistence to revel in a bygone era. The mere presence of Ys 8 starkly contrasts with most other developers' insistence of moving on to high-end graphics, and its rebellious statement is clearly seen and heard here. Each snap, crackle, and pop of the sound effects are crisp and accentuate the action really well, and the voice acting serves the tone of the game quite nicely. One of the small gripes that I have with the game is its quest system. Each quest is given a short, medium, or long designation with the attempt to give you an idea of the urgency of each quest. The problem with this is that you're not really sure what progresses time, nor do you have any clue as to when the time would advance forward. Another small gripe I have is its frame rate. On the Nintendo Switch, the frame rate struggles to maintain itself at a minimum 30 frames per second, though the game was still very responsive during combat. Considering I never actually played any of the other versions and still enjoy the gameplay, I find that the Nintendo Switch version is still a version of the game that's well worth playing. Despite the localization issues and questionable, get it, design decisions, I felt that Ys 8 is a great entry to a series that's existed since the late 80s. Players who are looking for a more traditional Zelda-style experience will find a lot to love in Ys 8. And while I've beaten the game's story, I'm still frothing at the mouth with what else I have yet to discover on the island. As I've said before, I love exploration in games, and Ys 8's mystery and majesty keeps pulling me back in real easy.